how can we use our passengers to assist us in emergencies? Hey everyone, Jason Schappert here of M0A.com, and you are listening to, can I tell you a secret? It's my favorite podcast of all the four that we do, the CFI podcast, the Certificated Flight Instructor podcast. Why on earth is it my favorite? First off, I love education. I don't know how do you explain that? And it's funny, I was just doing a webinar with some of our fantastic ground school members, and I'm sure Mark is watching this. We call him Marky Mark in the webinar, long story. Anyways, Mark was just sharing how, he's becoming a flight instructor, so I know for a fact he probably listens to this, and it's just, there's not a lot of knowledge out there on how to become a flight instructor or the business of becoming a flight instructor. It's just an area we're always lacking in, and you know what? You can make a good living as a flight instructor. There is a business to be had as a flight instructor. So there's so many great things and how to be a better flight instructor. And that's what I want to focus on today. I know I opened this up by saying having our passengers help us out, but it goes further than that. CFIs, you are going to be hurtling through the sky at 90 knots with a student pilot. We're calling them learners now. Are we calling them learner pilots? I haven't gotten that clarification from the FAA. With learners that have no clue how to fly an airplane to start until you get some time with them. You are an expensive lifeguard at some points, right? You're there to save lives and help people and make sure everyone gets home safe sometimes, and that is true early on. But you also have to position yourself in a way and educate and understand the power of primacy to know that these learners can be an asset to you in the event of an emergency. I've shared this with my online ground school members, and I think I shared this on In-Flight Coffee a few weeks ago, that when we're talking about hazardous attitudes, and we're often, it's easy to understand the hazardous attitudes of macho and invulnerability, but people often struggle to understand, what's an example of resignation? What's an example of impulsivity? Those are tough ones. And I was reading an NTSB report, had a good ending, meaning no fatalities or injuries. But the flight instructor took off in a low-wing aircraft, had 18 gallons each side, did the flight lesson with his student, came back. On their way back in, the engine quit. Impulsively, they instantly went to, oh my goodness, let's put it down this field. Very, very impulsive. Let's just do it. Let's just get it done now. While also, when you read the NTSB report, kind of resigning from the situation. There's nothing I can do to change this. Let's just land in this field. So impulsive, oh my goodness, go to that field right now. And resigning, there's nothing I can do to fix this. Let's just land in this field and we'll figure it out later and get down safe. Right? Impulsive while resigning from the situation. When in reality, those of us, we get spoiled flying high-wing aircraft sometimes because both is an option on our fuel selector and gravity feeds that system. Yet in low-wing aircraft, every 30 minutes we're taught to what? Left to right. Actually it's fuel pump on, switch tanks. Watch it, watch it, watch it. Fuel pump off, switch tanks, right? We get used to that and we become so familiar with that. Anyways, the FAA, the NTSB showed up. There was no fuel in the left tank. There was 18 gallons in the right tank, just like when there was at pre-flight where there's 18 and 18 aside. They burned all the fuel in one tank and did an off-airport landing when they didn't have to. All they had to do was switch tanks. That engine, when it came roaring back to life. So I share all that to say that, and that was with a lower time student pilot, that flight instructor, doing a basic, early on lesson. And I just think that as a flight instructor, yes, we want to step in and be the hero in the event of an emergency, all these things, but you can encourage your learners, your student pilots to be an asset to you, to assist, to help you with the basic things early on, even in their flight training. Very early on, I educate, listen, in the event of an emergency, I'm going to take the flight controls and I'm going to fly this airplane. But I need you to do one simple thing. This thing right here, this is our transponder. I need you to just do this, put 7700 in there. That's your only task. Just do that for me. Then as they get better and they get working on radios, understand radios, more responsibility comes to them. Hey, in the event of an emergency, still, I'm going to instantly take the flight controls. We'll do a positive exchange, but I'm taking the flight controls. You are the communicating pilot. I fly the airplane. You communicate the emergency to ATC, get it in the squawk codes, do whatever it takes. And we define those roles early and on the ground. Now, honestly, CFIs and future CFIs, you need to be doing this with all your passengers. It just so happens that the majority of your passengers are often your learners, are often your student pilots. So that is important to do as well, and to note that you're making such happen. How can we establish those roles? In the event of emergency, I'm the flying pilot, you're the talking pilot. You communicate the emergency, you do whatever it takes. You can help me find landing sites, but I'm flying this airplane. I'll be the one making the most important landing of our lives. You have to establish those roles early on. Otherwise, you have two individuals who are fighting for the controls. You also need to establish who's the communicating pilot, because if you remember, were you able to watch the 31-Day Safer Pilot Challenge? I hope so. It was January of 2021, depending on when you're watching this recording. January of 2021 was the 31-Day Safer Pilot Challenge, and in there, I don't know the exact day, but I did a video where I reviewed United 1448. In fact, if you just search United 1448 M0A, this video will come up. I've done older versions of it. You may see a younger version of Jason out there. That's fine. I share all that to illustrate for you to find the point where you listen. It's a United crew that is clearly confused on their taxi at the Providence airport, and they're getting lost. And all of a sudden, I don't know if it's the captain or the first officer, but one pilot is doing all the talking, and all of a sudden the first officer pops up, and they are like fighting for mic time as they're fighting with the control. No, we're here. No, we're here. No, we're there. No, we're doing this. And they're like this almost like how a couple kind of fights, like just back and forth with things, not really falling into their roles of I'm the flying pilot, you're the talking pilot. We work together, but I'm flying, I'm taxiing, you're talking. You're getting the diagrams out. You're helping map this thing out. We're working as a team together in the cockpit. Flight instructors, you can do the same thing, and you should, because flight instructors, you teach more by what you don't really teach. And while you may think, I'm not teaching in that moment of flying the airplane while they're talking in an emergency, oh, you're teaching them a lot. Primacy is a powerful, powerful thing. You are teaching them a skill set, although you may not be talking. You are showing them how a crew works together. You are showing them division of roles in the cockpit. You are teaching all of these things for your learners to work through. Oftentimes by how you lead by example, by how you mentor others, and you are a mentor, flight instructors, you have the greatest responsibility. That's why I truly believe, and I mean it when I say this is one of my favorite podcasts to do, because you lead by example in everything that you do. It's the things you don't say and the things you don't do that are often the most heard and most understood or misunderstood for that matter. You as a flight instructor have such a great responsibility. Flight instructors, again, I try to keep these short and to the point here. The average commute, not that we commute anymore, we all work from home now. I know many of you listen to this on your commute. The average commute's only around 14 or 15 minutes, probably now with COVID even shorter. It's from your bedroom to your spare bedroom. So I try to keep these short, but I share all this with you to know that you have a huge responsibility or a huge upcoming responsibility on your shoulders. Practice CRM even with your students, your learners. It's going to go a very long way, and primacy will set in and then make them safer, smarter pilots because of it. Hey, don't forget, there is still an opportunity to enter the Fly with Jason sweepstakes. We're giving 5 lucky winners an opportunity to fly with myself. One person working on their private pilot, one person working on their instrument rating, one person working on commercial or greater. So that could be you. And refer your learners to it as well, right? Private pilots, instrument pilots, doesn't matter. Flywithjason.com. We're also going to be taking one co-pilot, meaning I'm going to put the pilot in the back seat and the co-pilot's going to sit up front with me. And then lastly, for those of you that are into drones, we have the largest Part 107 drone test prep course on the market, remotepilot101.com, bringing it now under the M0A.com umbrella of companies. And we'll be doing some drone flying with one lucky winner as well. So just a lot of very, very fun things out there. Flywithjason.com to learn more about that and to enter. Yeah, and it takes a video to enter as well, so prepare for that. You have till July 17th. And the winners, I believe our date is July 29th, will be announced live from the M0A Nation Facebook page. So do make sure you're in there. M0A Nation, just search that on Facebook so you can be a part of that amazing community. Listen, you are amazing. Thank you for everything you do for making aviation just that much safer, that much smarter. Have a blessed, amazing, outstanding rest of your day. And most importantly, remember, a good pilot is always learning. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you.